Alright YouTube, what's going on? We are doing another top 10 video. This is going to be about defensive folders. Now, I'm going to do a preface here at the beginning of this video. Most of this is going to be in relation to concealed carry and retaining your firearm with your non-dominant hand. If you carry on your right side, that would be your left, and vice versa. I carry on the right, so I'm concerned and pick these knives based on drawing the knife from my left hand to retain my firearm if someone were to try to remove that from me. So let me preface the video right there. If you don't conceal carry and you're not interested in, and even if you don't conceal carry but you're interested in defensive knives, then this is a video for you. If you are not interested in defensive knives, if you feel fine just carrying a gun and not having a defensive knife, just having your utility, EDC folder like a Sevenza or something like that, then this may not be the video for you, and I'm just prefacing that right now because it may be a longer video. I did spend quite a bit of time on this video, developed a scoring system, did all kinds of testing as far as how they carry, how they deploy out of the pocket, and those kind of things. And it's going to be a longer video, so if that's not something that interests you, then you should probably stop watching now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through each knife individually, one by one, and let me explain my scoring system and how that works. So, and again, this is my personal preference, is what I came up with. You may or may not agree with some of these things. So I basically did a 1 out of 3 for each category, 1 being the lowest, 3 being the highest you can score. There's some half points in there as well. Let me get some more of these knives in view here. And first one that I scored them on was the ease of deployment from the left side back pocket. The reason why I say left side back pocket, I carry a flashlight in my left side front pocket, and I like the back pocket because you can sit down, you really notice the knives in your back pocket, and it's more concealed. You can draw from that position pretty easily actually with these. So that was number one. Number two was how the traction, the grip, the retention of the knife in hand in that reverse grip. That was very important to me. Number three was the blade shape, number three was the feel in the reverse grip. So how ergonomic, how it felt, not just security, but just the overall feel in the reverse grip. Number four was the blade shape. Was it conducive for self-defense? Was it conducive for weapon retention? Was it versatile? Could it do stabs and slashes, or or cuts, or could it just do a certain type of cut? Next was how it carries basically in that on your weak side or in your left rear pocket. That was important because some of these knives were rather large and they were kind of like sitting on a brick. So some of the lighter, slimmer knives were almost a better choice, but there were some trade-offs there, so they were scored appropriately on that. And number 6 was how strong is the lockup on these knives, because I'm going to preface this right now. Preface? I'm not sure how you say that. Folding knives are not the best for self-defense, period. But I did this video because there is a lot of states in this country that do not allow you to carry a fixed blade concealed. Now that may be different if you have a concealed carry permit. I know Utah allows you to concealed carry a knife even without a permit, but with a permit that extends to even more types of knives and things you can carry. So I did folders first. Now I will be doing a top 10 video on fixed blades for the same exact type for self-defense, weapon retention. Is really what it's focused around. I'm not going to go out and get in a knife fight. I'm not looking, that's going to be my primary method of defense. My primary method of defense is and always will be, well, first of all, is and always will be to avoid a situation at all costs if possible. Second would be my, in this case, Glock 26 is what is in the holster I've been carrying lately. That is my number one. Now, the idea is that, with this close quarters type thing where you're not going to be able to draw that weapon effectively, someone's going for that, and you want to put all your downward pressure, your strength in that right hand to avoid that, to have, to stop them from taking that gun from you. So you're going to be using your left hand in this situation. So, preface that right there. They're folding knives. They have locks. They could possibly fail. They're not the optimal thing. A lot of these you'll see are cold steels that have tri-locks. There's some Spydercos that have back locks. they are going to be the strongest type to use. Not saying that, you know, frame locks aren't strong or liner locks, but they're just overall better choice, I think, for that. So that's the scoring system. I'm going to go through each knife individually, not in any particular order, but as far as scores, I'll just kind of give you my overall score for each knife. I'm not going to necessarily rank them 1 to 10 because they're all good options. It's just going to come down to some personal preference things and you know, how they carry and those kind of things. So we'll go ahead and get started on that, and we'll go ahead and start with the first knife. Stay tuned. Alright guys, I decided to do a quick insert here. I'm going to show how all these knives deploy out of the pocket before we get into each individual review. So that's what the next few segments are going to be. Alright, cold steel Talwar. Got it set up to wave backwards. It doesn't wave reliably out of this side. You'll see here. Well, it worked fine that time, of course. But I've tried this probably 50 times, and I found that the cold steels work better to pull back like that than be in that motion. So there's the Talwar. But again, you're not be able to do this firearm on this side. You're not able to push down. You have to pull back out like so. Then you have thrust. I mean, it would work, but I feel like it's faster coming out of the wave like this, making a strike and being able to stab. So that's the Talwar. Okay, next up is the 630. I have it set up for reverse grip, and you'll see waves perfectly. Has a nice slash and cut. You can also do a stab motion, so it works really well. And I've never had it fail. That's how good it works. Okay, the Talon 2. I actually got this. He's got this set up for reverse. Let's see if I can get it to work. Yeah, see how it just didn't grab? The thumb disc works better on the cold steels. Sorry, I'm realizing I'm not turned. No, it didn't even grab that time. The clip's not set up the right way. So you can see you catch it better coming back straight out than you do in the reverse. And this is what happened a lot. Where in the reverse it would grab it but not fully deploy the knife. So that is the one issue there. Okay, Fox Karambit. Super fast. That finger ring makes a huge difference on what you're on these. So super fast out of the pocket. Alright, next is the AK-47. Like I mentioned, this one actually waves well in the reverse grip out of the back left pocket. It worked. I think it's because it's got that extra handle material. It worked pretty much every time for me, as you can see there. I just think you have a little bit more handle to grab onto with that striking pommel on there, and it works fast and quick, and it gets you right into that grip right there. So it works awesome. It's funny I said go ZT on that last one, but really Emerson wave is what makes it happen. So Matriarch, reverse grip, easy to grab, works every time out of the pocket, with some practice obviously, but like I said, I've done it quite a few times. Nice sweeping, slicing grip or tear. You can come up, you know, across. Again, not an expert, just from things I've seen watching some training videos and such. All right, last but not least, guys, is the Dart. See how quick it is? Gives it right into that stabbing motion, or I can sweep and do a cut like that, but more so that way. So it's just, it works. It flat out works. Good old Emerson wave with that ring. Hard to beat it. We'll do the Signet ring Delica. Again, very fast. That ring helps the Delica wouldn't be very quick if it weren't for that ring. It's got too small of a handle, I feel like, to get out of your back pocket. With that ring, it works really well. And we'll do the Talon, or the Tiger Claw. I can't remember which one it was. Just to kind of show you, he's got it set for other side carry too, but see, it didn't really grab coming out, even with that ring. And see how it kind of like did that? It makes me nervous, but you pull it out like this, it works every time. So most of the cold steels are that way. The only exception is the Lawman, which I'll just grab since we're talking about it. So the Lawman, because it's got that extra handle material right there, you can grab it and really get it out reverse pretty fast and easy. That's why it got such a high score for that, because it works really well. CQC4K, same idea as the 630. And I have my shirt tucked. I don't normally do this. Sporting my Chris Kyle Legend shirt. I just did this so you could see everything better. You can see it comes out fast. It's just effective. It works really well. We're going to start with the cold steel Talwar. This is a awesome blade, guys. It has got just an amazing blade shape for self-defense. And let's go ahead and go over the scoring and such I did for this knife. So for the first category, I gave it a 2.5. It is easy to deploy from the left side. However, the wave feature on the cold steels is like a disc instead of, like the Emerson wave, like on the Matriarch. It doesn't work as well, especially from the reverse grip waving out of your pocket. I'll do some demonstrations here in the video as well for some of these, but it doesn't work as well. It does work great if you're pulling out of your left pocket backwards, but I find that to be a slower motion, but it's still effective. That's why I have the clip set up on this side. So I gave it a 2.5 just because it didn't always wave very reliably out of the left hand with the reverse grip. And I'm being very specific on these guys because that's kind of what I was looking for. As far as category 2, the traction, grip retention, I gave it a 3. It's got an amazing handle shape. It's got really grippy G10. It locks into your hand in forward grip or reverse grip, or your forward piercing grip. It works great in either way. The handle design of this knife is fantastic. Again, it feels great in the reverse grip. The only downside here is with the way it waves, if you can't really reverse grip it, so you'd have to wave it this way. Let me back the camera out a little bit. There we go. And I'll do some demonstrations. You'd have to wave it out this way and then change the reverse. That's not ideal. So you're going to end up waving backwards and using a piercing like stab or slash like this. So that one almost didn't apply to this knife and the other cold steels, but I scored it a 2.5 just because you have to switch your grip and such. The blade shape style for self-defense is awesome. It is one of the more versatile blade shapes because it has a nice big belly, a nice upswept. It's going to slice very nicely, but it's also it has a nice acute tip, and it has the way that this kind of like trailing point design is. It's going to be a good piercer stabber as well. So it was actually one of the more versatile blade shapes that I reviewed in this. How it carries in your left pocket is actually really nice. It's slim. That's the nice thing about the tri-locks is they're not thick. It weighs just around 5 ounces, a little under 5 ounces. It's a big knife. It's a 4-inch blade, but it does carry very nicely in the back pocket. I didn't have any issues with that at all when carrying this. And this strength is going to be a solid 3 on that one, guys. It's the triad lock. It's about as strong as you're going to get it is the strongest you're going to get in a folding knife. It's as close to a fixed blade as you're going to get. That's why there's 4 cold steels in this video series. Mainly, a lot of that was because the lock and some of the designs of the knife, but a lot of it had to do with the triad lock. So overall, the Talwar got a 17, which is actually, no, excuse me, 16.5. Let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, no, 17. 17 solid. One of the higher scores out of all of, and again, this is not in any particular order, but one of the higher scores out of all the knives. I just felt like it was a great design, great blade shape, strong lock. It was still quick to wave, just not necessarily in that reverse grip. So it was a little slower though on the, I guess attack is what you'd say. So there's the cold steel Talwar, guys. That's the score, 17. Let's move on to the next one. Alright guys, next knife up is the ZT0630. Now, one common thing you're going to find, every single knife in this video has some sort of wave opening feature, whether it be the Emerson wave or the cold steel wave disc, simply because that's the fastest way to get out of your pocket. And because we're talking about folding knives, these are faster to deploy than an automatic. Believe me, I have many out the front, so I tried it. These are way quicker, especially with your non-dominant hand. So the 0630, this is a special edition with the orange, G10, and black DLC. And I'm going to preface this by saying the 0620 as well. So just basically the ZT Emerson line is going to be a great choice for self-defense. Now let's go ahead and go over the scoring. So first category, easy deployment, was it waved pretty much every single time without fail. It just works really well. Didn't have to change the clip, so this is actually set up to carry in your left pocket and to deploy in the reverse grip like so. It works perfectly. It's awesome. That's one of the best things this knife did. How it feels in the hand, the grip retention, it's got great G10, plenty grippy, nice Nice handle design. It just feels very good. It feels very retentive, like you're not going to lose this knife. So I gave that a 3 as well. How does it feel in the reverse grip? How's the comfort? It's exceptionally good. Very comfortable, like I mentioned. So gave that a 3 as well. Blade shape. On this particular model, this is the 630 that has the more drop point-ish, I'm going to say, type blade with some sort of a kind of a drop right here. It's kind of a sharper drop right there and a swedge. It's good for slicing and stabbing. It's a pretty versatile blade shape. I gave it a 2.5 on that. The Tanto version may be better. It's going to be a better stabber, and it's going to have a nice straight edge, so it could slash. This has more belly. It's kind of up in the air. I gave it a 2.5. Couldn't give it a perfect 3 on that, just because of the reasons I just mentioned. The Tanto again might be good, so I give it a 2.5. How it carries in the left pocket is actually not the best thing of this knife. It's a heavy knife, weighs over 6 ounces. It's thick. It's a beefy frame lock. It does give you some nice sense of like this is a well-made knife. It's not nothing's going to fail on it, but carrying it in the back pocket and such can be a little cumbersome. So I give it a 2 on that. And the locking mechanism is a frame lock with a steel lock bar insert. Now it's not a back lock. It's not as strong as the triad lock. It's been proven. I gave it a 2 simply because it's a Foley knife. It could fail anyway. But at least with the triad lock and the back locks, you have a little bit stronger locking mechanism. I mean, I don't feel like this would fail. It's very strong, but it's more likely to than the others. So overall, the ZT630 got a 15.5 on the scoring scale. And it's a great option, guys. It just kind of took some hits because of the frame lock and the thicker, carry. So I'm going to move into the next Kershaw. Same thing. And I'm not going to do much different scoring. I provided this as an option because it's a budget option. This knife, this is the CQC4kXL. Big old knife, 4-inch blade, spear point, 8CR13LV. You can see this knife has been used and abused, guys. I love this thing. It's so super smooth. I think you can look how smooth that is. Teflon washers, nice G10 frame lock design, stainless steel frame lock. It's pretty much a budget version of the 630 that I just said. The same score I got on that was 15.5. It's a little slimmer, so it does carry a little bit better in the back pocket. And the blade shape is versatile. It's good for slashing and for stabbing, but it's overall like a great option for $30. If you're on a budget and you're looking for a defensive folder and and it weighs perfectly out of the left side. My biggest concern with this knife is the lockup. It is a frame lock, but it is I can kind of move it a little bit, push it. It doesn't move much, but it just it's not as secure as some of the back locks. So I gave it the same score as the ZT. A lot of it because of the value here. You can spend $30-40 on this thing and have a great defensive folder that you can wave out of your pocket pretty quickly. So that's the Kershaw CQC4kXL. Lots of numbers there. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And I've been stopping the video. I don't know why, because I didn't have to. Let's go with the Spyderco. We haven't done a Spyderco. The Matriarch. This sucker is a nasty, nasty knife, you guys. This is purely and 100% made for self-defense. When you open this knife and you see that blade shape, you're like, and that spidey edge, you're like, yeah, I'm not going to use that for cutting open boxes. Not what it's designed to. The Civilian was the original Spyderco knife that they made, and they still make, but it's kind of it's a huge folder, and a lot of people can't carry folders that size legally. So they made a smaller version of the Matriarch, but the knife was designed for undercover agents that didn't have a lot of training, that couldn't carry a firearm, that could use the knife in self-defense situations and be effective, because it doesn't take a lot of training to use this blade. It's such a nasty, wicked blade. If you can, do a simple swipe with your wrist, a simple slash cut, it's gonna tear some stuff up. It's nasty. So, nasty blade shape. The scoring on this one, I gave a really high score. Overall was 17 on this one. The wave works awesome. I mean, it pretty much waves out of the pocket every single... I don't think I ever had it fail one time. Sometimes when you're trying to pull out slowly, it tries to wave, and I'm like, that's not necessarily safest with this kind of blade shape, but Gave it a 3 on that. Gave it a 3 on the grip and the handle. The FRN provides really good grip. 3 in the reverse grip. It feels very comfortable. You got a lot of handle to hold on to. I don't feel like your hand's gonna slip down or anything. It feels very secure just in this grip. So the blade, again a 3 on that. The 2, I gave the blade shape a 2. Now you're like, what? That's like the nastiest looking blade shape. It is, but it's only designed to do one thing, and that's rip and tear. It's not meant to stab. I mean, you can't really stab with it. It's just awkward. It's like a claw Talon. You could, but you know, I did ding it a little bit on that because otherwise it would have had like a perfect score. But just because it didn't condone itself to any kind of stabbing motions, you're kind of just limited to that clawing. And in the reverse grip, you're going to be kind of doing a sweeping cut, and you know, you can't really. You could also stab from this grip really effectively, and you can't really do that with this blade. So I gave it a 2 on that. This one carried the best in the pocket of all the knives, maybe minus the Delica, Wave Delica, and because it's slim, it's lightweight. I think it's one of the lightest knives. It weighs just over 4 ounces, I believe. And I'll put some specs on all these in the description. But it's slim, it is long, but it carries nicely in the pocket. And I didn't even know I had it in my pocket half the time, so it was really good on that. And the lock is very strong. It's a back lock, not quite as strong as the the Triad lock, but stronger than a frame lock, stronger than a liner lock for sure. So I gave it a 3 on that. So your overall score on this one was a 17. Very high marks for the Spyderco Matriarch, guys. Great option for self-defense. Like I said, the only negative would be the blade shape is not conducive to stabs. It's, you know, strictly slashes, tears. All right, so there's the Matriarch. Let's go with one of the Karambit since we haven't done that yet. And I've got 2 here. They're essentially exactly the same. We'll only display the one though. We'll just do the G10 version. I have one that's aluminum scales too. That's got cryptic. It's pretty sweet. So this is the Fox Karambit. This is the Fox 579 Karambit. They also have a 599 Karambit. That's a little bit smaller. I just happened to purchase the 579, and it's pretty awesome, guys. It's a wicked blade. I mean, it's a Karambit. It's designed around the Kali, you know, martial arts, the Southeastern Asia martial arts, Filipino martial arts for blades, and they use the Karambit blades. That's exactly what this is designed around. And for a self-defense knife, I mean, coming out of that left pocket, it's designed to do that. It is designed to get that finger and use that wave and wave it out, and you have a nice slashing cut. Again, blade shape not conducive to stabbing at all, really. Probably a little bit, actually. You could a little bit. You're going to have to kind of get around a different angle. Better than the Matriarch. It doesn't have such a strong curve, but overall I gave this knife a 16.5. The half basically came off because of the locking mechanism, but for the first category, how it waved out of the pocket, it waved fast and just efficient every single time. 3 out of 3 on that one. It's great in the reverse grip. It feels super comfortable. One of the best things about Karambits is this retention ring. You feel very confident that you don't want to get it too far down your knuckle. Kind of want it like right between there and there. It's because if you get too far down, you could actually end up breaking your finger. So if you want it for retention. The G10's grippy. The retention's good. The 599 Karambit is a little bit smaller and may fit my hands a little bit better, but this works. I don't feel unconfident at all with this. Very, very good retention on that one. I got a 3. The Karambit design overall is just great for self-defense, and I gave it a positive 3 as far as the blade shape, the feel in the reverse grip was a positive 3. The blade shape I gave 2.5. Again, I knocked it a little bit simply because it's not conducive to stabs. I mean, in this reverse grip, you can, but look how the blade is shaped. You'd have to kind of curve your knife a little bit more, and you know, that takes training, which, you know, I don't have a lot of training, or excuse me, any training in the fighting with a Karambit, but I feel like that coming out of that left pocket waved, using that slash cut to get an attacker, you know, to basically take him out of, you know, to take the fight out of him with that cut. You can use these pretty effectively without training. If you're going to fight like a knife fight with these, you know, you're going to definitely want some training. But I feel like, you know, for what my intended purpose was, I felt like it was pretty conducive to not having to have a ton of training just to kind of understand the knife, respect the knife, and I think you'll be all right. Now, I do recommend getting training for this if you're going to carry a Karambit. What's awesome about the Fox Karambits is they offer trainers. So you can get a non-lethal trainer that has a non-sharpened edge, and you can train with it. That is one of the big advantages to these knives over all these other ones, is they don't provide trainers. Now, the Kershaw actually does have a trainer, I saw, for the Emerson style knives, and the Matriarch has a trainer, or excuse me, the Endura, I think it's an Endura, waved Endura trainer, or Delica. So you do have trainers for those as well. So the Cold Steels, I think, are the ones that don't have your trainers available. So, if you're going to use a Karambit, it's a great option, but I would recommend getting some training. So overall, I gave it a 2.5 for the blade shape, and I gave it a 2 on how it carries in the back pocket. I gave it a 3 because it's lightweight. It weighs like 4-something ounces. It just carries nicely in the back pocket. You just hardly notice it's there. Overall, though, I give it a 2 on the lock. The liner lock is concerning somewhat to me. I don't feel like these are going to fail, and you can put a lot of pressure. It's not like you can make it fail. But in a situation like that where you might be running into bone and other materials, heavy clothing and such, you don't necessarily want a liner lock. The Fox Dart that I'll go over here in a minute kind of addresses that a little bit, but I did knock the score a little bit on that. I gave it a 2. Now again, guys, these are knives that you're never going to really have to use, most likely. These are a backup situation where you may have to use it in case of, someone trying to take your firearm from you. So overall, though, the Fox 479 got a 16.5 score, so a good score. Let's do the Delica. This is a unique Delica. This is one I reviewed yours on the channel. It's got the signet ring, so it makes it a Karambit. The Wave Delica is great by itself, but adding that Karambit ring hole there is going to give it a lot more stability. So the Delica, I gave a 16.5 total score. It waves really well. The Emerson wave it works, guys. There's a reason why everyone uses it and patents it through Emerson, and it's got the Emerson patent number on there, and they license it to use it. Fox does, Spyderco does, ZT and Kershaw do. It's just because it works best. It's a great design. So I gave it a 3 on that. FRN, I gave it the handle and such and retention, I gave it a 3 because you have the ring plus the FRN handle. Feels very comfy in the hand, very secure. It works great in the reverse grip as well, so I gave it a 3 there. The thing that I knocked it most on was the blade shape. It's very more of a utility blade shape. It's not, it doesn't have a great belly. I mean, it has a decent belly, but, something compared to like the ZT here, which is obviously a bigger blade, but, you're going to have a little bit better slicing capability with how upswept that blade is versus this is just more for utility tasks. So I like that Spyderco, took their awesome knife in the Delica and made it have a wave and kind of gave it a defensive purpose, but that was one thing I knocked it on. I actually gave it a 1.5 on that because I just felt like it wasn't a great slicer. It would do pretty good stabbing, in that motion. It'd actually be pretty effective, but overall I just didn't feel like it was as good in that area. So small and lightweight. It definitely, those are some of the perks. I missed a section here. I know I did. Oh, how it carries in the left back pocket. That's why I was saying small and left weight. Super good. I mean, this is actually my buddy's knife. Thanks again, Curtis, for providing 3 of these knives for this video. And he's got it set up for right-hand carry. I had it set up for left-hand carry when I had it, and it's so small. It's like probably it carries the best of any of the knives in the back pocket. And your very strong lock back mechanism on this, same as the Matriarch. It's going to be a lot stronger than a frame lock and a liner lock, guys. So I give it a 3 on that. So 16.5 on that one on the score. Okay, we got to get into some of these cold steels. We got like 3 left. Oof, I should have gone a little better order. Let's do the Talon. This is the Talon 2. This is very similar to the Matriarch as far as your blade shape is concerned, with a very hooking edge. I mean, let's compare the two side by side and you'll see what I'm talking about. Very, very similar blade shapes. The Spidey edge on the Matriarch, you can get the Talon with a serrated edge as well. The Talon is a large knife, for one thing. It is very big, and that's kind of a, not necessarily a downer, but can be. The overall score on the Talon, I give it 15. Main reason why is because it's a big knife, and it waves out of the front pocket or the back pocket, but again, out of the reverse grip, it doesn't wave well. It has something to do with the design of the wave. It was more designed to catch on that pocket back like this instead of, the wave works really well, not surprisingly. wave works really well out of the reverse grip. So I gave it a 2 on that. Excellent grip and retention. I gave it a 3. It's got very nice. It's very slim. And it's got good G10, good handle. So I gave it a 3 on that. It's really good in the reverse grip, but again, you're having to switch your grip after to do that. So when you're pulling out of this grip, you're kind of limited. You can't really stab because of the blade shape, so you're limited to a cut, like, you know, a tearing cut, a ripping cut, which that's going to do that. That blade is nasty, but I did knock it a little bit in that. I gave it a 2 on that. And carrying in the pocket, it's not bad because it's thin. That freaking dry lock sometimes is just bare. There we go. But it's wide. I mean, look how wide it is. It takes up your whole pocket. It's long and wide. It's very thin, and it's pretty heavy. It's over 5 ounces. So I gave it a 2 on that. But strength and lockup, I gave a 3. It's the tri-lock, man. It's proven. It's awesome. So, you know, if that's one of your biggest concerns and not carrying, if you can't carry a fixed blade and you want to carry a folding knife, go with a tri-lock. You know, my buddy's got a little cool Predator bead on there. It totally looks like a knife the Predator would. This is Curtis's knife again, my buddy. That would, you know, the kind of knife a Predator would carry. Totally. Overall, really cool design. Again, very much a defensive blade, but, you know, it did have some limitations for what I wanted to use it for. So that's something to take into consideration when I gave it that score of a 15. Let's do the other cold steel. Oh, there's 2 more left. Jeez. We're gonna go with the Tiger Claw. This sucker is gnarly, guys. This is a Karambit with a massive handle, massive wide blade. It's only about a 3-inch cutting edge. Just a gnarly knife, just like the Talon. But I scored it very similar. I gave it a 15 overall. Again, doesn't wave well out of the back pocket. Even with that Karambit, I thought with that ring that I could get it to do it. And my biggest concern is when doing that, it would sometimes not go all the way open. And the way this lock works, that could shut right on your fingers. Kind of scared me a little bit. So I gave it a 2 on that. I gave it a 3 on the reverse grip because of the retention of the Karambit ring. It's just a really comfortable handle, very comfortable in hand. I gave it 3 for the traction and everything, and retention with the ring, and then another 3 for the feel in the reverse grip. Feels awesome, great. The blade, I gave it 2, simply because it's a Karambit style blade again. That doesn't condone itself to stabbing, and because you can't really wave this out of the back rear pocket effectively in reverse grip, you're going to have to either change your grip or you're going to have to use it like this, and you may as well have the Talon. It's going to have a better blade for that. So that's the one knock I had on that. I gave that a 2, and it doesn't carry well in the pocket, guys. It's wide, it's a little heavy. I shouldn't say it doesn't carry well, it just doesn't carry as better as the others. Where it's going to get its best points from is the retention, the Karambit style, and the triad lock being so strong. So I gave it a 3 on that. So the overall score again was a 15, same as the Talon. Next one up I'm going to do is the Fox Dart. This is actually one of my favorites of the group. It's a little bit smaller than a lot of them, but I feel like it's the most versatile of all the blades for a lot of reasons. So first of all, it waves incredibly fast. You have the Karambit ring. You can grab onto it with your finger there, and you're going to wave that open, and it's going to have your Tanto blade. Now, I gave it a 3 on the wave out of the left pocket. I gave it a 3 on the retention because of the ring and the drippy G10, and it just fits my hand almost perfectly. I gave it a 3 on how it feels in the left hand because it's designed to be carried like this. It's designed for the P-Cal grip. You know, that's what it's designed for. I also gave it a 3 for blade shape, guys. It has a very versatile blade. And you're going to be like, oh, it's a straight edge Tanto. That's not good for slicing. Well, when you're coming across like this, that straight edge is going to catch, and then you're going to have a secondary cut from that Tanto edge. So you're going to have, it's, you know, almost a double bam, whammy, whammy, nice choice of words. It's going to cut really nicely. And you have the stab in this motion, or you can stab with a palm up strike. Lots of versatility. That's why Doug Marcarta, what is he, a freaking handle material? Doug Marcata, excuse me for that, designed it like this with a straight edge. He originally helped design the 599 Karambit, which had, you know, the Karambit blade like this, but smaller. And then it came out with the Dart, which has the Tanto And it has a blade shape under 3 inches, so it's legal to carry in a lot of areas, guys. This is a great option for self-defense knife because it's legal to carry for a lot of people, unlike a lot of the knives in this video. And it has, I mean, the only knock that I have on this knife, guys, is in the last category, which is the liner lock. Now, I mean, it's not as strong. What they did, though, they addressed this in the second version of this knife, and they used the locks mechanism from CRKT. Well, actually, I don't think it's by CRKT. It's by a custom designer, but CRKT uses it in a lot of their knives. And it will not, if you push that forward, it's not going anywhere. My only issue is it doesn't automatically push forward. I don't know how they could possibly make that. So after it's waved, if you don't do that, you're back to having a liner lock. So I still knocked it on that, but it is nice to have that locks feature because, you know, when stabbing and thrusting and doing those kind of cuts, it's going to, there's a possibility it could fail. If it's locked, it's not going to go anywhere. So, and it's pretty simple when you're in this grip to, but you see, you can't, when you wave it, you can't really like reach it. That's the thing. The design's cool to have it there, but let me just click that on real quick, guys. No, you don't have that. It doesn't automatically move forward. I wish it did, but there is that option. So again, for this intended purpose of weapon retention, I feel like it's going to work great even without the locks mechanism. I like the size. It's easy to carry in the back pocket. I mean, I get scored perfect scores and everything, but the liner lock, guys. If they could make this in a back lock or a triad lock, it would be freaking awesome. So it's still a great knife, though. I forgot to talk about price on all these. I'll put them in the description, guys. These are not cheap folders. There's the one value option in the Kershaw, and the Spydercos are under $100. Most of these are going to be around $150. Actually, the cold steels. So really, they are actually pretty value-minded. I think that the Fox knives are the most expensive. The ZT are the most expensive here in the video. So, all right, so we've covered all of them, but the good old AK-47 by Cold Steel. I knew this was gonna be a long-winded video, guys. I apologize, but you know, just covering this many knives, what are you gonna do? So the Cold Steel AK-47 has all the same strengths as the Talwar, as far as you know, the handle shape. Actually, you may even have a better handle shape. This knife was designed for law enforcement as a weapon retention knife. It was a backup, you know, for their carry. And it excels. It does well in those things. The thing that's nice about it is it waves better out of the left pocket in reverse grip. That's why I have it set up this way. And I think a lot of that has to do with this part of the handle here that they incorporated for striking, for pommel, you know, for pommel striking, and for, you know, whatever striking. You could probably break glass with that. It just helps. It gives you a little bit extra handle over the Talwar and the other ones, except for mine, maybe my Tiger Claw, to get it out of the pocket, and it waved really well, reverse grip for me. So I gave it a 3 on that because it worked well. I gave it a 3 on the traction, grip, and retention. The G10 is super coarse, guys. It's meant to grip. It's meant to get wet and have gloves on. But the handle design is where this thing really shines, man. It just feels so good in the reverse grip. It's super comfortable. You got this finger guard here, the finger guard there. I mean, it just sinks in your hand. It works awesome. So I gave it a 3. I gave it a 3 again in the reverse grip. It just feels awesome in that one. I kind of feel like I could take that category out, but I just realized that as I'm making the video. So I gave it a 3 there. I gave it a 2.5 on the blade shape for self-defense. It's a typical drop point blade, and it has a pretty good belly like the ZT, so it could be good for slashing, slicing cuts, and it has a decent stabbing motion. So I gave it a 2.5 because I felt like it wasn't great at either things, but it could do both. So that's why I gave it a 2.5 there. Slim. How does it carry in the pocket? It's kind of heavy. It weighs over. It's the heaviest of the Cold Steels, I believe, or pretty close. And it's not as wide, but it's wider, I believe, than the Talwar. Sorry about that. I mean, just bump the camera. It's 6s. I mean, no, it's definitely a little bit wider. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit wider. So, it carries good. I think I scored a 2 on this just because it's kind of big and bulky and such in the back pocket, but, again, I think the positives of this knife outweigh those things. And then you have the awesome triad lock that's not going to fail on you. So I think the AK-47, it's an old design. This is the new version with the CTX XHP, so they upgraded the blade still. Overall, just a great folder for self-defense in general, and it's a general EDC knife, a little big, but It has, you know, lots of cool features that the other ones don't have, like for striking non-lethal. The Karambit does also. The dart has a glass breaker up here, and it can be used as a striking. I don't know if that's the correct way, or if it's just probably just like that. As a striking mechanism as well, but the AK-47 overall is one of the better designs of all these knives for a defensive knife. So, and it can be had for $80 with a great steel, so it's a great deal. I gave it an overall score of 16.5. I think it's a great option. So, all right, guys, that's it. Or almost a half. We're gonna be over a half an hour once I edit. Long video, but something that's been on my mind a lot. I get a lot of questions about this on my channel. I get a lot of messages, a lot of comments on my videos. You know, what's a good knife for self-defense? What do you recommend for this? And typically, you know, I've never been a huge proponent of a knife for self-defense, but as a concealed carry holder, I feel like it's your duty and responsibility to be able to retain your weapon if necessary, if someone were to go for it, because you are carrying that. Therefore, you are responsible for that weapon. So I feel like carrying a knife on that left side for retention is a good idea. And a folding knife isn't the best choice. Again, I'm making another video about fixed blades that are going to be better, but not everyone can carry it. Most people can carry a folding knife. That's why I went with this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I did put a lot of time and effort into this one, so I appreciate the thumbs up and the shares on this video. Again, I prefaced this at the very beginning, so hopefully you didn't sit through the whole video if this is not something that interests you. And you know why I picked these knives, and there was a certain method to my madness, I guess you'd say. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.